What's up, everybody? William Winterton, Coaching Success Radio. It is happening, and this show is going to be absolutely incredible. You do not want to miss this. I have the amazing Wendy Maynard going to be joining me for a conversation. Check it out right after this intro. As I build my coaching business, I want to know how to effectively serve clients and make more money doing it. This podcast will pull back the curtain to reveal exactly how successful coaches are building their empires. Join me as I engage with top coaches from all over the world to discover their secrets. No theatrics and no theory, just real life strategy. My name is William Winterton, and this is Coaching Success Radio. Okay, so I want to give a little bit of a background on Wendy Maynard before we bring her in for the conversation and share that video with you. It was an incredible time, had a blast. She's one of these people who, I think I only met her like 4 or 5 days before we actually had the podcast, but there was so much value. There's so much good content that she was just over a couple discussions was sharing with me. And I'm like, man, we cannot not have you part of this program. This is entirely what this program is about. It's about helping coaches to grow out of their own comfort zone and explode their business. And that is what she does. She works with businesses, and she's worked for years with business owners to get out of their own way and really scale their business using the right processes, setting the right strategies in place, getting things in place, lined up, and really cutting out all the fat, all the things that are going to be distracting you from making headway. She is has multiple companies that she has brought over 6-7 figures and scaled up their business. And a few years ago, she kind of went out on her own, started doing her own coaching consulting thing. And within 12 months, she scaled her own brand new business, brand new clients, everything, scaled it up past 6 figures and is just blowing it up. So I'm super excited to share her content and her story with you. Make sure you're taking notes. You're going to make sure that if you're driving, that you listen to this again, because you're going to want to listen to and remember and utilize everything that she's telling you to do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wendy Maynard.
Hello, everybody. William Winterton here, and I have today a very, very special guest, a lady who is passionate about helping entrepreneurs grow their business and just really get to the level they want to get at, whether or not they think they can get there or not. I've been reading a little bit about her, and I'm super excited to have her on. Miss Wendy Maynard. Wendy, how you doing?
Hi, William. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest, and hello to everyone who's listening. I'm doing great. I am, I live in Oregon, and I can see the blue sky. It's been raining like crazy, so it is a happy day.
Living the dream. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, so basically, yeah, I just want to have this conversation with you a little bit. You got kind of an interesting story and a little background to yourself. Could you just tell us kind of how you got into coaching and kind of how that journey started? Maybe we'll start there and move on.
Yeah, so I suppose I'm not the coach in the traditional sense that I never went through a coaching program. So I'm actually a business and marketing strategist. A consultant is what I've always called myself. I founded a marketing firm. Oh, I hate to say this, but in January of 2000, way back when.
Yeah.
And so I helped grow that to the multi-million-dollar level. It was an amazing journey. And almost 2 years ago, I sold my half to my co-founder. I was traveling a lot, and I have 2 little boys who I wanted to spend more time with. So I live in Ashland, Oregon, and the company's actually in Portland, Oregon. So even to go up there and meet with clients, I was hopping on a plane every week, and it just became a bit taxing. And 18 years is a great ride. And so now I am doing the same thing. I'm just not doing the whole full deal marketing, the marketing services backed, suite that we were doing. So we'd build websites for people and do a whole bunch of things. But what I've always done is I've worked with the CEO and the business leaders to help them grow and scale their companies. And so I'm doing that now. And the reason that I give you that backstory is, one, because I want people to know where I come from, but also people just started calling me a business coach. And so I'm riding with it. I certainly do coaching in my business. I ask questions to help people find their way. However, I think that the strategist and the consultant hat is also really important, because I have had the honor and privilege of working with hundreds, maybe thousands of business owners and leaders. And so I know know a lot, after having done this for 20 years. So I tell people, I give people my recommendations. I don't just ask them questions.
Got it. What's kind of your sweet spot? You said business owners. That's very broad.
Yeah.
Who's your primary business owner that you would love to serve?
Yeah. So I work with service-based business owners, and I have a lot of experience in working with B2B folks, but can also work with B2C. I work with coaches, consultants, and service-based entrepreneurs like website designers, website developers, freelance copywriters. So that's a bit of my sweet spot. I love working with people who have big ambitions and want to build a mini empire and really help to impact the world. I truly believe that entrepreneurship is what has changed the world and what has continued to change the world. So I think of myself as a catalyst to help people, really build their business so that they can truly live to their, the potential of what they can bring to the world.
So and that's awesome, because I agree 100% that small business and entrepreneur is the heart of not only the country, but it really is where the whole planet's headed. I mean, it's what gives life to everything that we do, right?
That's right.
We're the problem solvers, right? So there's always some kind of a problem. We fix it. That's our job. That's what we get paid. But that's how we make the world a better place. So, all right. So now that you're doing this and you've had so much expertise in this, what do you do now are you just to brand yourself and to get yourself out there in your own, apart from this company you built and doing your own thing for the past 2 years, what's been something that you've done that has really been able to sustain you? Has it been going to clients that you've already had and just getting recommendations, referrals, or are you trying to, increase your pipeline to get new clients?
Yeah. So when I left the marketing firm, no, it was I had to get all new clients, because the clients that were with the marketing firm, that's the marketing, right. The entity sort of owns that, if you will. It was just an S Corp. And I don't know if you know much about S Corps, but they sort of have their own, they're like their own entity. So I was an employee of my own company. It's just the structure, but yeah. And so, no, I started from scratch. I started all over again. I had, and I think this is important for people to know. So we all start, right? As a beginner, often over and over again. So if people are listening to this and you're just getting started, don't be worried when you look at someone else. You're like, oh, well, they're so far ahead of me. Well, we all started from zero. So I started again with zero presence in my own name. Zero. I have a Facebook group now. I did not. I didn't have a Facebook page, or maybe I did, but maybe had 10 likes on it or something.
Right.
I didn't have my own email list. The firm has an email list, but I didn't have my own. So I had to start all over again. I had to get my own clients. I had to, I had to do all these things. And I've been very fortunate to just kind of hit the ground running. And then my first, it was kind of a half year and then a year, but have pretty quickly reached consistent 10K months and above. So now I'm building on that.
Very good. Very good. So that's awesome. So basically it was a clean slate for you, but you used all the, information you already had, but had to build a completely new set of clients, right? New list.
Exactly.
So when somebody's getting started in that and somebody's headed that direction, let's say they've been doing this for a while and they're running and working, but they're not getting any traction. What would you say to somebody who's really trying to, in their own coaching consulting business, trying to get some traction, trying to get clients to come in, and they feel like nothing's sticking? What would you say is kind of the first couple steps they should take?
Yeah. So I think that people go into business, and this is true whether you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're a web designer, whatever it is that you do, you go in with a core skill. But running a business is complex. And I think people think it's a lot, I don't want to say simple, but I think they believe because they have a core skill that they'll be able to quickly grow their business based on that skill. Well, the truth is, I don't know if you've read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, but the truth is that people have a lot of misperceptions about just hanging out their shingle, even if it's a virtual shingle, and that, you build it and they will come. And that actually isn't true. And so the marketplace is flooded now with folks who do exactly what you do, exactly what I do, exactly what anyone does, right? And so if you don't take the steps to differentiate yourself and carve out your own blue ocean, so the thing that you do that's different and better than anyone else, that's not to say that you have to be the best. I always talk about you just have to be the best at something no one else is doing. And so, the quickest path to get there, I believe, is to hire a consultant or a coach to get you there. And so the reason that I think people get stuck is because they look at that as an expense line item, and they think, I can't afford that. Now, I do think you have to be very careful in who you're picking, because unfortunately, I'm like the marketer who hates all marketers, or most of them. Like, I think there's a lot of snake oil sales folks out there in a lot of different industries. And I think that there's a lot of folks that they give you a single system or a tactic, and they say that it will, solve all your problems, right? Do Jedi mind tricks. And that's just not true, right? But if you can hire someone who can leapfrog you to where you want to go, then that is going to be, it's not an expense, it's an investment with a super high return. So it's an ROI, and every business owner needs to invest wisely in their business to both leapfrog themselves where they want to go, but also to get that ROI. And so they need to be very judicious when they're making their selection, but then they also need to shift their mindset. And so this is another piece, like when I'm working with my clients, even if you're one person, you need to start thinking as a CEO from day one. And, Michael Gerber talks about this in his amazing book, The E-Myth, and then it's been revised. So it's now E-Myth Revisited. But don't think of a technician. And I've worked with tons of different business owners. So I've worked with doctors who are business owners, and they still think of themselves as technicians. Now they're very highly paid technicians, but they still don't have the potential to grow like an entrepreneur can grow their business. They'll still hit an income ceiling unless they move themselves into that seat of the CEO of their business. And so when you are acting as a CEO, and it gets really schizophrenic when you're just a business of one, right? Because you have to wear these different hats. But when you're thinking of the CEO, you need to actually, I always like to compare it to someone playing chess. You need to sit behind the chessboard and look at the chessboard as if it's your business and say, well, where do I need to move in this next move? But also, 3 moves ahead, 6 moves ahead, 10 moves ahead to get where I want to go.
Which is, like you said, it's very schizophrenic, it's very complicated, especially if it's just you doing this and you don't
That's
have.
right.
Which is why, like I said, I have a coach that I work with, somebody who is mentoring me. I'm assuming that you've got people you work with who mentor.
Oh yeah.
You. I mean, it's imperative that you have somebody who's not necessarily, interested in whether or not, if they want you to succeed, they're not interested in like taking anything from your success. They're interested in helping you grow. And it's an investment. It's a very poor mindset to think that coaching and spending money on coaching is just an expense and it's just a waste of money and I don't need that right now, or I'll get that later when I get more success and when I can afford it. That's the one that kills me, is that someday I'll hire a coach when I need one.
Right.
But you kind of need one right away. I've never, I don't know where I'd be actually. Which is also just, and in saying this now, when you're talking about somebody working with a coach and working with their own team, if they are by themselves, would you recommend, how long, how big, how much would they grow before they have to start bringing on other people in their team to help them out, or advisors, or somebody, or some system in place so that they don't feel like this massive overwhelm of trying to run a business when they realize it's not just, I do this one thing really well. It's all the business pieces that go along with it, and they realize they can't handle it.
Yeah. So I work with clients one-on-one, and I work with clients in a group coaching program. And so there's 2 things that I recommend early on, as early as you can do it, probably from day one. And I did this myself, and I think it was huge. boon. The first is you hire an assistant,
Yes.
or possibly a bookkeeper. But you look at like what is the least best use of my time, and what is the highest and best use of my time. And if you still need clients, then probably sales is what you need to be doing right now. And if you don't have enough clients, then you need to get out there and sell. And people think they get into this place where they're like, oh, well, I need a website. Well, you don't need a website. You can throw up one page. You don't need fancy branding. If you can sell, like, you can fill your portfolio filled with clients. And if you don't have enough clients, that's what you need to do. So you need to hire an assistant to help you, or perhaps, like, if you're a web designer, let's have the web, like, hire a junior designer or a graphic designer, hire a graphic designer who can do the clipping paths. Someone fresh out of college can do those things for you. And then, carve yourself out more time to make money. And then the other thing is you need systems. And again, one of the things I work with my clients on is developing systems from day one. And a system can be as easy as just setting up a checklist. So it doesn't have to be hard, but you want to make things so that you don't have to think, that you can just like look at your checklist and go, okay, super efficient. And then also so that you can ultimately train someone on the way that you do things.
Awesome. I hope everybody's paying attention. This is such good stuff here. This is entirely, this is huge. This is great content. I want to hear a little bit about some of the stuff that, like the stories of you working with clients, things that have, again, we're talking to a lot of coaches out there who maybe have worked with some clients and have had some success and are growing their business up a little bit. But maybe they are struggling and they've had, I maybe it would be just good to hear some of the stories of times that you've struggled with clients and things that didn't quite, almost like if you had to ever fire a client or had to just get a client to, I don't know if you've ever had an issue with anybody.
Oh yeah. So again, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but when I first started, there were not a lot of businesses didn't even have websites. Okay. And when they did have them, it was, just kind of getting a brochure up there. There wasn't social media. Again, we're talking about early 2000s. So I had to figure out a lot on my own, which means like I probably made every single mistake that I could. I didn't know where to find a mentor. I didn't know where to find a coach. Like I'm sure they were out there, but we originally started our business in Ashland, which is a small town, and maybe those existed, but I don't know. Then we, after a couple of years, moved up to Portland. And so like pretty much every mistake that anyone out there is making, I probably have made it and way worse. And so I can remember this one doctor in particular, and he was horrible. And so I nicknamed him Dr. Pain because he was so horrible, and he was mean and he was disrespectful. And I kept thinking that I could change him, right? This is like, I could talk a lot about the dysfunctional relationships that I was in before I met my husband. But I figured like there were some parallels here, right? Because, I thought I could change old boyfriends. I'm sure some people listening to this can relate, but I also thought like I could change this guy. Now I realize, like, and I tell people all the time, just say no to PETA clients, which is a pain in the ass, right? Because people will reveal their true colors right at the first sales conversation. Just like, people on a first date will kind of tell you everything you need to know about them. Unfortunately, I'm a person who learns things the hard way. It takes me a while to get my lessons. But if I can shortcut anyone's path and not go through the hard stuff that I would say, like, anyone who shows red flags early on in a sales meeting, like, those red flags will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't accept anyone who is mean or disrespectful, or I don't like what they stand for. And now I've just come to the conclusion that life's way too short and too, like we should be having fun in our business. And so when we have these PITA clients, they drag us down, they suck our energy, they suck our time. And this is really crucial for people to get, they take our time away from our great clients and our time away from finding more great clients. So if you work with people who are a drain, then fire them, get them out of your company. They're a huge opportunity cost for you. And like I said, I have learned this the hard way. That guy sticks out in my mind because he was so blatant. But even little things, like I've worked with clients who want to, make decisions by committee. I've worked with clients who are late in getting the things that they're working on back to me. And this was more true in the marketing firm than it is now, right? But, you need content for someone to build a website or whatever it is. And it just isn't a good use of anyone's time to work with dysfunctional people. So
it sounds like that's another system that they could have just right off the bat, is set up that, look, you just have this checklist of things that I do not want to take on somebody who's got to deal with a committee, for instance. I've got to get, somebody, if you're working with some kind of a health coach, and look, I need you to be there, or you and your spouse to be there if you have to make the decision or whatever.
Exactly.
I got to have these things in line. And I know when coaches first get started, and I know this is true for me, is when I first started taking clients, I would just take anybody. Right. Because I need to make sure I wanted to make sure I was practicing my coaching and make sure I wasn't leaving money on the table. And I thought, okay, well, I'll deal with this because I've got to get the money coming in. And it's not worth it. I don't care how much you get paid to take a coaching client on, if it's a pain. I love the PITA client thing. If it is, it's just like, it's not worth it. There's no amount of money.
Well, and what's so interesting is once you get brave enough to say no to your wrong fit client. And so there's plenty of people who talk about ideal client avatar or ideal client or whatever you want to call it. But what few people talk about is personality and attributes of the person that you want to work with. And this is something I work with my clients on, is like, who do you want to work with? What are they like? Because you want to have an affinity with them, and, write down the characteristics of that person, and even include things like pays on time, treats you with respect. You want to go and have a beer with them, or whatever it is that's important to you. Like, know the personality of the people you want to work with from a client perspective, but also if you're hiring contractors, you're hiring employees, get really clear on that too. But I don't hear people talking about that as much. But you're creating a culture within your company, and you want the people you hire to be that way, but you also want the clients that you work with to be that way, so that you are stoked when you get out of bed. And when you start saying no, this magical thing happens where all these new doors open, and these people who are perfect fits step in. And it's this remarkable thing. But you gotta either fire that client that you're working with right now. And I'm not necessarily talking to you, William. I'm talking to that person. There's someone now who's listening who is cringing because they know exactly who I'm talking about. And so my message to you, that person, is let them go. Like, be like, what is it, Elsa from Frozen?
Yeah.
Let it go. So I can't sing, so I'm not going to. But let them go, and I guarantee you these amazing things will happen in your business as a result.
That is so well said. Life is too short, and you got out of your 9-to-5 to do this for yourself anyway. Why are you making your job one of these you get to pull yourself out of bed and I got to deal with coaching clients? You're right. Just you want to wake up and be excited, because I am. The people I work with, and I know the people you work with, you start manifesting this relationship, and you start bringing people in. They're attracted to you, and they're attracted to you and your energy. So you don't have time for that. So I think anybody listening to this and watching this would be absolutely totally able to benefit from talking with you and reaching out to you, and at least having a conversation and getting to know you. What is probably the best way to reach out to get to you and to have that conversation?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So my website's wendymaynard.com, so you can go there. If you want to ask me questions specifically, my Facebook group is probably the easiest place to come in and ask me questions. I'm in there every day. Well, not on the weekends, because my true bosses get me on the weekends, my 3-year-old, my 10-year-old, right? Yep. And it's I just have a redirect that goes to the Facebook group. So it's businessprofitengine.com. You can go to that URL. It'll redirect you and you can join it and ask me questions in there. If you want to look more seriously, I have some downloads and a webinar and blog posts on my website. So, and then I'm easy to find on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all the social media. Don't look at me on Instagram. I'm really not very good at taking selfies. So I'm trying, but it's not my thing.
Don't worry about it. I would like to just hear a couple things about the Facebook group, though. I know several people I've been talking to are adamant that their Facebook group is a great resource and tool for you. Setting it up and getting it going. How much of your time is that something you farm out to somebody else as well to kind of manage that, or to make that Facebook alive and actually engaging? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So I tell people there's no one right social media platform. It's more based on your personality and where your clients are, and you want to get a match for that. So I'm an extrovert who's stuck behind a computer. And so I started the Facebook group because I love being in community. And for me, it really feeds me. That said, yeah, I have an assistant who helps me. So my Facebook group right now, I kept it intentionally small for a long time. And now I'm really starting to accept more members, promote it more. But now I think I'm at 3,200 and already, and it's grown quite a bit in the last probably 3 or 4 months. But right now at this level, I have an assistant who I have to have in there to help me. And I don't know what the metrics are, if it's every 1,500 people you add. I don't know how it scales, but I know with bigger groups that you sometimes have to have 3 or 4 assistants in there. So it can get quite complex, and it just really, I think, depends. I always say about a Facebook group, like you got to really want it.
Right. It's another piece of your job. It really is managing that.
Yes, exactly. And I love it. And it certainly is a good thing for me, and it fits my personality. I love my community. I love everyone who's in there. I have very rigorous, rules in terms of same thing. Like I don't keep dysfunctional people in there. So if you're mean, you're out. No mean people.
Awesome. That should just be something for life if you can help it, right? I mean, it's like,
I think so.
It's just an awesome way to go. Well, yeah. It's been a fabulous conversation with you. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you would love to share, or anything in closing that you'd love to just say to everybody?
Just probably one thing is that if you are on a social media platform, what I suggest is that you're not on all of them. If you're just getting started, pick one that aligns with personality, pick one that is where your clients are, and like own it, like be on there every single day and post probably more than once. And I've told people that, and they're like, ooh, that sounds like a lot of work. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of work. Building a business is a lot of work. But don't try to like spread yourself too thin right now. Become masterful at one, and you'll see a lot more results. And because I see that as a mistake that too many people make, is they think they have to be on all the places. You can get there eventually by leveraging your content, but do that, and then use that same content and send it to your list. Build a list. Like a list is crucial. So that's it. Like master one social media platform, build a list. You can leverage the same content because both people won't see the same stuff, or both sets of people won't see the same stuff at the same time. So you don't have to kill yourself. But that's my parting word of wisdom.
That's awesome. That is really powerful. So thank you again, Wendy. I hope that everybody's taking notes. This is good stuff. And we'll have a conversation with you later on. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, William.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. New episodes are coming out every few days, including lots of conversations with massively successful coaches sharing their secrets with you. So be sure to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel so that you don't miss out. And if you're looking for a way to start making serious money from your coaching, you need to check out my free training. It's at williamwinterton.com. I lay out the step-by-step on how to start making 5 figures a month in the next 60 days. Check it out, williamwinterton.com. I'll see you next time.